within the cell. And we want the student, when he designs the cell, to make sure that the soft, fleshy things inside the cell, the people, are safe. We want them to make sure that the equipment is safe. We want them to make sure that the product isn't damaged. So they are actually doing that quite well, and certainly that one. All they have to do is tell us about it. D3, which we can't see very well.
Demonstrate.
You will be judged on D3. You'll be judged on this depending on how effective your decision-making processes have been. This is a new situation for you. To do this research and create a design, so we are looking for effective thinking and problem-solving skills. And it is a very difficult thing for them to do. So basically, I'm pulling that one out. Effective thinking has taken place in unfamiliar contexts. And it is unfamiliar because we're telling them to go and find a robot and some input sensors and output sensors, but we're not telling them what to go and find. We're only saying, here's a situation, find something that satisfies it. So it's thinking in unfamiliar contexts. And again, if we have to tell them how to do it to achieve the pass criteria, that's fair enough, but they won't get the grading criteria. Now, madam, you believe that, I believe, you said that for one of them, some of the criterion weren't achieved. Yes?
Yes.
What hadn't I achieved? Which one?
Maybe he got achieved D until D in task 1
Right?
for the excellent students. So if he or she achieved the task 1, is it possible for the student not to answer for the task 2?
Absolutely. Because they are separate questions. So D1 for task 2 is to gain D1 we are looking for a critical evaluation of your design. You've not had enough time or information to do the job correctly, so how do you improve it if you're in a perfect situation? So what we're looking at for D2 is their advanced CAD. So it's not the robotics that we're going to give them a distinction for, it's the advanced CAD that we're going to give them a distinction for. And the reason that I believe we can do that, because it's the D1 use critical reflection to evaluate your own work. I truly believe that they haven't got enough time to do the CAD job that they will want to. So in reality, we could give them a whole year to do this assignment and they'd never finish drawing.
Yes.
Because they would want it to all be perfect. But we're not looking for perfection. We're looking for schematics. And the solids that they're going to produce, the only reason for producing the surface models is to consider 3 dimensions. The vast majority of what they do can be done in 2D CAD, but when they consider the machine movements and the stacking of materials and things like that, they've got to consider it in 3 dimensions. When they're thinking about the height of a work surface, they've got to consider it in 3 dimensions. Is the person sitting? Is the person standing? But I don't want a perfect table drawing, and yes, they'll They would use a surface with a wooden top or whatever. But it's where it is in relation to everything else that that we're going to look at. So the drawing of the robots might simply be and that might be all that we get for the drawing of the robot as a solid that's able to move, and the dimensions are correct for the robot that they're choosing, and the movements are correct for the robot that they're choosing. That's fine. It doesn't have to have Kawasaki on the side, or Mitsubishi on the side, or whoever on the side, and be a perfect representation. But that's what the students will want to do. They'll want to draw it so that it's, and do a rendered drawing of it, because in these CAD packages now there are so many toys that you can play with, putting rendered surfaces on and putting the logos on and 3D text and all the rest of it, and that's what the students want to do. They want to play making things pretty. I don't want pretty, what I want is functional.
But sir, if the students did not answer task 2 because he or she get a full D in task 1, what happened to the learning outcome for advanced CAD?
We
How to measure the outcome in the unit of advanced CAD?
Again, in an integrated assignment, the student's success for the pass criterion, it doesn't change. So it's quite possible for the student to achieve the pass criterion but not achieve this distinction criterion. It's easy for that to happen because the student's got to do a critical reflection for the distinction. They've just got to do the drawings, or enough drawings, for the pass.
Okay, if that happened, is it the question in task 2, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3 until 2.4 is for the pass?
Correct.
Okay. Then he or she have to answer the question, right? Or you can measure it in task 1 for the drawing.
Ah, I see. Right, okay, right. As life is complex, so the answer is yes and no. The drawings that they are doing are for a flexible manufacturing cell.
Right.
Okay? Now, it is possible, as far as the robotics unit is concerned, for them to design the flexible manufacturing cell and not use CAD at all. So they could do all the drawings by hand. They could do all the design by hand and by text. We want them to use CAD because that's the professional way of doing it. So that once they've drawn the cell, we can put those drawings away, and if we have to do modifications in the future, or if we've buried the airlines under the concrete, we know where to find them. So that's what we want them to use CAD for. But it's perfectly possible for them to not get the CAD and get the criterion for the robotics. I don't think it's possible the other way around, because what they're drawing in CAD is the design for the cell. Yeah? So if the drawings aren't correct, if the drawings don't use the correct symbols, if the drawings aren't accurate, they won't get the CAD. But they could still get the robotics. They could still get the health and safety. They could still get the PLC. But they won't get the CAD. So each, although it's an integrated assignment, it's the scenario that is integrated. It's not the work for the units that's integrated. And it is the reason why many integrated assignments fail. People think that integrated assignments, everything has to be integrated. But that's not true. What you do is create a scenario that many units can build their assignment for. So the assignment could have been use CAD to design a flexible manufacturing cell. The health and safety could have been a separate scenario. But what I've done is created a scenario that enables 4 different units to be put together. So there is one centre that I used to visit, don't go there anymore, it's in Greece. Zakynthos. I'm very sad that I don't go there anymore. My 4 years visiting Zakynthos was great. Zante is a nice island. And they would have only a single assignment for each unit. And the assignment would be given to the student at the start of the semester. And the students would be learning and providing evidence as they went along. So it was a big assignment, and unfortunately we're not going to get the time, because we've compressed this into 3 days, to look at online portfolios. So somebody is going to contact you from a company called DDL, contact you both, to give you a demonstration of how online portfolios work. And what this centre did was to have sometimes integrated assignments. Well, this was in semester 3 and 4, where the students had a single problem to solve. And what this does is give you economy of scenarios. So the student only has to worry about getting their head around a single scenario. Because if they've got 5 different lecturers writing them 5 different sets of assignments, then they've got to think about different scenarios. What this has done is given them a single scenario to worry about. And they can get to know this scenario over a 6-week period. They can get to learn their design, and what they're doing for one thing affects another thing. And that's the way that it is in the real world. So, but each task is separate. The robotics task is looking at robotics, and they will get a merit or distinction for robotics only. Oh, sorry babe, if it is babe, I'll probably just call upload babe.